the planet where all of this is happening is called Toroidus, and it's shaped like a donut. And it has a duct-shaped rock in the middle called Ducky Island. It isn't this big, but that's just to show you. Now, there are 8 continents on Toroidus, and those are, and I won't draw them exactly, but Xenon, Anon, Benon, Xenon. Yeah, okay, I'll admit I wasn't very creative when my, I don't know what, 9-year-old self was naming these. And on the other side of Toroidus, you'll see the duck from the other perspective. There's the continents of Denon, Enon, Epnon, and Genon. All right. So let's see. So, for example, Anon is next to Xenon, Xenon, but also Enon, if you think about it.
Alexander?
Yes?
Can you pronounce the one that starts with an X?
Xenon.
Can you pronounce the one that starts with a C?
Xenon.
Okay.
Now, if you remember, Sinenia is on Xenon. The Confederation of Benon is, of course, on Benon. And now here's the cool thing about the planet being shaped like a donut. It means that it can be mapped to a plane such that this side's the same, this side's the same. I'll assume you don't know much about topology, so I'll just stop at that. But you can put some of those continents on this graph. So here's the interesting part. From Anon, if you go, wait, sorry, I got this wrong. Xenon, Anon. And then Xenon is here, Benon is here, and then over down here are E, T, A, Genon. I think I got these mixed up again, sorry. G and F. So I'll explain what this graph means. So if you start at Anon, if you go west, you'll get to Xenon. If you go north or south, you get to Enon. That's the cool thing about a donut-shaped world. If you go either way around, you get to Enon. Now, if you go east, you get to Xenon, all right? Now, the planet, the sun, the star that Toroidus orbits around, is called the sun, like our sun, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And the way it works is that the axis of Toroidus is like this. And so it rotates around, and that's how both sides, this side and that side, get day and night. Okay. And Ducky Island is always facing the same direction as these four.
Okay.
All right. So, what are the directions? So, you know how on Earth there's a North Pole and a South Pole? Well, instead, on Toroidus, there's an east pole and a west pole. Okay? This is the west pole, and this is the east pole. Okay. Now you might think that this looks like north and that looks like south, but no, because I'll show you here. So north is that direction, okay? South is this direction, then east and west. So, sorry, I got this wrong. Pretty sure this might not be exact, but maybe this is the east. Yeah, and this is the west pole. So you can see from Xenon, yeah, going south is going towards the middle. So this is the inner rim of Toroidus, okay? That's the inner rim. And then this border, although really it's the same on both sides, is the outer rim.
Okay.
So there's sort of like two lines around. So this east pole, the reason why it's called the east pole is because, well, it was seen as east for the ancient Toroidans who were looking at it, because the compass north pointed towards the center, or so. Actually, I think south pointed towards the center, which is why this is considered south and north is considered further away from this part of Xenon.
Okay.
So the Xenonians, because it's kind of Xenon-centric, since Xenon just went and colonized the rest of the world. So that's why Xenon named this the east, because it's east of Xenon. So they called this the east pole and this the west pole, but they didn't really know much about the geography of this planet. Now, the day-night cycle is 20 hours long, okay? Except these hours are not the same as Earth hours. So one day is 20 hours. However, these hours aren't the same as Earth hours, because 1 hour is 1 hour is 50 minutes. But these minutes aren't the same as Earth minutes, because 1 minute is 100 seconds. And these seconds aren't the same as Earth seconds. It's about approximately, I think like 0.7, I think it's about 0.7 Earth seconds. I'm just using gamma to represent Earth in this case. Wait, that's confusing because there's another planet called Gamma in this system, but Earth seconds, all right? And Ducky Island also uses the system because Xenon kind of forced everyone to use it. Now, days, right? There are 30 days in a month and 10 months in a year. So it's a very, I guess it's a very metric system that they use. It's all very base 10 centric.
How is the weather?
The weather?
Does it depend on location?
It does, because kind of similar to Earth, half of the planet has like a different season from the other half. I wanted it to be different from Earth when I was designing it, but I just couldn't figure out how to make it different enough while still...
Is it like inner rim versus outer rim?
Yes, there is that sort of difference, because with the inner rim is very interesting because it sort of faces the other side of the inner rim. For example, the inner rim of Benon faces the inner rim of Anon, but it's so far across that you can't see. But technically these maps are distorted because the outer rim is actually much longer than the inner rim. If you can see it here, but here it looks like the same.
Right.
So it's similar to how the Mercator projection is very distorted.
How is the weather on Ducky Island?
The weather in Ducky Island? Well,
Is
Ducky
it
Island has the same
consistent or-
day-night cycle as this half of Toroidus.
Okay.
So what you may ask is on the other side of Ducky
Yeah.
Island,
Oh, yes.
it's a bunch of apples. It's called the Apple Sea.
I remember.
There's a unique story to that for another time.